All righty, it looks like the attendee list has leveled off once again. This is Ken Kibler, Director of Training and Client Business Support for eTruck Biz. I've got a pretty broad topic today about the financials of the Network 2.0, as well as we'll cover some of the other topics with the volume and the trends. So without further ado, I'll turn this over to Jeff. If you got any other questions, please put them in the chat or in the Q&A. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks, Ken. Oops, forgot to mention that eTruck Biz is not endorsed, sponsored, approved, or otherwise affiliated with FedEx Corporation. So as we do every week, we want to look at the pickup stops. Oh, no, falling off a cliff there. That's not so cool. Down 6% on the stops, 8.5% on the packages.
Can I add to that, Jeff?
Yeah.
Yeah, with Good Friday's closures, that means pickups were going to be light on Friday. So what's that mean for deliveries this week? It should mean that you will be lighter this week. Make sure we remove the dispatches accordingly.
Then you see over on the delivery side, it took a dip too. A little holiday action going on there, but back to the trend line for the most part. And productivity. Routes dispatch took a dive. That's good. But stops per dispatch also dropped back to the trend line. So we're making some progress. Not so much anymore. What we're going to do this week, we're going to cover a subject that almost everybody wants to talk about when they call us for different reasons or they inquire about different things. Usually this is at the heart of everything everybody wants to talk about. Let's talk about the 10 reasons for financial stress in the FedEx contracting space. As a contractor, you're responsible for a lot more than just meeting all kinds of service and other deadlines. You have to running a successful business requires juggling vehicle maintenance, compliance, and many other moving parts. While the profit potential is significant, the financial challenges contractors face can lead to overwhelming stress if you're not properly prepared. So we've analyzed thousands of negotiations and hundreds of business analyses to identify the leading sources of financial stress for FedEx contractors. First one is poor understanding of operating costs. So it's hard to estimate the true cost of running a P&D operation, which leads to all kinds of financial challenges. Key expenses like fuel, maintenance, payroll, and administrative costs need constant attention to stay on top of. Developing and regularly updating a comprehensive operating budget is crucial to understanding real costs and make informed business decisions. So that's why we have the Budget IQ program to provide you the tools and guidance you need to get clarity on your operating costs. So it's just tough. You're watching your service, you're watching all kinds of things. You're really not watching what's going on as far as your expenses go. And that's what we're trying to say here. And that's one of the first reasons people struggle in this business is because they're not watching the expenses. And related to that is ineffective budgeting and financial planning. Budgeting and financial planning are critical for any business, but because these things get very hectic, most struggle to do it effectively. The key is to identify all your business expenses, categorize and document every cost to get a comprehensive financial overview. eTruck Biz's Budget IQ program can help you with this step, making it easy to capture all your expenses. Next, you need to create an actionable financial plan with manageable categories like vehicle costs, staffing, contingency funds, etc. Again, Budget IQ can assist you with all of this. Regular monthly reviews, so looking at it again, going back through and reviewing what's happening on the financial side of things is another key to understanding what's going on the financial side of the house. Now, another thing folks do that causes financial stress, as they will call it, nursing old trucks. So fleet vehicles, your trucks, are the lifeblood of any FedEx contractor's business, but they can be costly to maintain. Without proper maintenance, minor issues can escalate into major repairs, leading to vehicle downtime and revenue loss. Many contractors view trucks as assets to be preserved rather than revenue-generating tools. The key is to invest in preventative maintenance and avoid costly repairs down the line. Find and partner with trusted mechanics and budget for regular maintenance. Right? Also budget for fleet updates to include newer fuel-efficient vehicles that reduce long-term maintenance costs. Above all, have a way to track maintenance expenses like that in the eTruck Biz Admin IQ program. Remember, here's the big deal. Remember, trucks are tools that generate revenue. They're not just expenses to be minimized. That's what your trucks are for. Those trucks are for making money, right? Working in instead of on their businesses. The key to growing this space is shifting from working in your business to on the business. This means focusing on strategic leadership, team management, systems, and processes rather than just day-to-day operations. Financially struggling CSPs often get bogged down in routine tasks, leading to breakdowns in the overall business. That's a key point here, folks. When you're delivering packages or you're working on your trucks, or if your BC is doing that, maybe they do need to drive, who knows, but that's when things get out of control, is when you're doing things that don't lead to staying in control. The solution is to adopt a streamlined management strategy, leveraging third-party services to free up your time for higher value activities. Regularly monitoring key business drivers and metrics ensures proper execution and greater efficiency. Now, how about your BC? BC compatibility and adaptability. Your BC's leadership skills are crucial for motivating and directing your team effectively. With the changes brought about by Network 2.0, it's important that you and your team are ready to embrace these adaptations. Implementing efficient operational systems through strong process management is the key to financial stress in your business. Clear communication between all stakeholders is essential to assure information flows smoothly throughout your organization. The state of your business often reflects the capabilities of your business contact. Ensuring your business contact is prepared to handle the evolving role is critical to your company's success. So here's the thing. As you approach Network 2.0, you need to try to be as honest as you can with yourself. Is the BC that you have, is that person right for a more complex, more dynamic, more margin squeezed operation? That person, it's very important. If you want to just turn your head and ignore what you know, you see too many dispatches going out, drivers not doing the things that they're supposed to be doing. The reason that's happening is because of that BC. You guys want to add something, Ken and Bob?
Yeah, we've talked about evaluating your drivers. Do the drivers have the willingness to change and to follow the new direction and the new path? They can't succeed if your BC is not willing to do that. And your BC can hold your business back. We've been doing this for almost 10 years now, and I can tell you every time we go into an operation and owners ask us to evaluate the BC, we'll make a recommendation. And sometimes it's that you got to move on from this BC, and too often the owner waits, believes this person knows all the routes. They know DRO. I can't get rid of this person. eventually that person will take you down the tubes. And so you have to give an honest evaluation about your BC. Are they willing to adapt? Are they willing to do multiple tasks? Are they willing to manage the drivers, not let the drivers manage them? So that this is by far your most crucial step. Budgeting is very important, no doubt about it. But if you've got the wrong person as your BC, you will be completely engulfed in your operation if it's going to succeed, or if you cannot be completely engulfed in your operation will not succeed because of a BC that's not compatible or adaptable.
Another reason for financial stress is lack of proper driver methods. Implementing a structured training program for drivers is crucial to improving efficiency and the resulting driver methods, which ultimately improves your cost per package. The training should mirror the best practices of our friends at UPS, focusing on time management techniques and proven delivery strategies. Regular observation rides where managers actively participate will provide valuable feedback to drivers and help identify areas for improvement. When's the last time your BC did a regular, plain old observation ride? Do you get rides done, or do you get excuses why they can't be done?
Can I ask to put in the chat the last time your BC did a ride and what was the most earth-shattering thing that they found? So please, I'd encourage you to put those comments in the chat. It's one of those things right now on my ground biz. There's a video posted, right? And a message from Kevin Koken. If that driver was properly trained, would have they done those same things where they nosed into the driveway and then just dropped the box next to the car because they didn't want to get wet? Maybe, but you know what? If that driver was properly trained and did that, then you know you've got to get rid of that driver because then they don't want to do the job properly. These methods are proven. UPS drivers have to generate a lot of revenue for that company to turn a profit. So how do they do it? They do it through methods and having that truck on the road for 9.5 hours. So,
Till we get to the end here,
okay.
because we don't want to derail our progress here. So anyways, ensuring our drivers develop strong area knowledge is the key to optimizing their routes and delivery times. This is another benefit of BC's doing ob rides. BC's learning the areas. And then establishing clear performance metrics and holding drivers accountable through regular reviews and coaching will drive consistent improvement. Okay. Another thing we usually see is resource underutilization. So resource underutilization is a key challenge that can significantly impact a business's operations and financial performance. So here's 4 new strategies to help maximize the use of your fleet and drivers. So some of you have heard this before, but wave dispatches, staggering departure times to keep trucks and drivers productive throughout the day rather than all leaving at once. That's coming. You guys that have gotten your 2.0 packets see that FedEx is starting to refer to dispatch 1, dispatch 2, dispatch 3. That's about to happen. Another thing is something we will call specialty routes, developing dedicated routes for specific delivery types to increase efficiency and lock in time definite reliability. So maybe you do have an 8:30 route or something that somebody goes out and does. Maybe they start at 6 and they go try to knock off a bunch of 8:30s, 9s, or whatever you have. Then maybe they come back and get in a different truck and go do something else, right? You don't just do that for 2 or 3 hours. That might be what we would call a specialty route. That's something you're going to hear about a lot here coming up. Another thing is something called slip seating, allowing multiple drivers to use the same vehicle on different shifts to maximize the productive hours of each truck. So if you look at a UPS, if you look at UPS, and need no look any further than UPS, that truck usually is on the road at least for 9.5 hours, because that's what they'll schedule a regular dispatch for. But if it's not, and for some reason that truck comes back, I can guarantee you they fill that truck back up and it goes out and does something else in the evening. I was going to put pictures of, people are starting to take pictures now of UPS trucks at 11, 12 o'clock at night driving around and send them to us. That's something. And then, of course, the next, and this could be the way you really can turn the financial tide, is something we'll call remote reloading, which means establishing strategic reload points to minimize return trips to the main facility, increasing delivery capacity per shift. So, once again, if you watch a Walmart parking lot 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you see a bunch of UPS trucks butted up against each other. Guess what they're doing? Somebody brought them some more stops to do so they can knock them off before they come back. Now, another thing is we introduced this term last week, not achieving a high enough dispatch yield. It's one thing that to put enough revenue on a truck that it turns a profit, but you have to go farther than that. You have to have enough dispatch yield so that it'll cover the entire operation. So you should know that FedEx closely monitors its yield per package, which is similar to this, as a key metric of their business health. That's the one thing. If you ask some of the terminal managers or anybody in any kind of executive positions, they'll be able to tell you all about their yield per package. As contractors, we should be doing the same things, tracking this metric daily or weekly to identify areas for improvement. Again, that's what we were talking about last week. Regularly reviewing our dispatch yield will allow us to make adjustments and maximize our efficiency and profitability. And this is where you're going to make significant gains in the financial health of your business, by knowing and managing your dispatch yield. All right, this is one of our favorite things here: reliance on route optimization software. So that software is fine, but effective use of FedEx's FRO software is crucial for making route efficiency and reducing operating costs, right? We need to make sure that VCs are up to date on the latest FRO functionality, including the use of dynamic anchors so they can leverage its full capabilities. So don't have to go any farther than where I'm sitting at right now, Huntsville, Alabama, and somebody, long story short, is evaluating another operation. And the first thing they said is that the BC has told the owner of the business they are not going to use dynamic anchors, and they're not going to do anything different than they've always done forever. And that's just the way it's going to be. I can show you an operation that's going to be either up for sale real soon or maybe going out the door the other way. Now, here's the thing. We need to train the drivers to follow the engineered routes as closely as possible without manual alterations. But this allows the network benefits of Network 2.0 to be fully realized. Everybody wants to use the route optimization software. Why? Because the drivers like it. Why do the drivers like it?
They can be where they want to be when they want to be there.
Is allowing your driver to reroute and do whatever they want to do all day long. Is that in the best interest, especially the financial interest of your business? That the excuses and reasons will fly. What if there's a train? What if there's an accident? What about traffic? What if space aliens land? That's true. And yes, you do want to get around that kind of stuff. But going going out a route just because you want to be in different places at different times and then altering your software if the software lets you do. It doesn't work in the 2.0 arena.
Hey, Jeff,
Yes.
real quick. I was just before the call here, I was on with Matt, and we were looking at trends. We looked at trends from November. We looked at trends for the last 4 weeks, and they are all about spot on. They're within 50 stops, and that's what 1,400 stops a day, I believe. But anyways, the trends work. I mean, that there proved it. But then when we look at their schedule, the route schedule on what's planned for routes every day, the number is the same number every day. But we've got different stops, different amount of stops every day. So why do we need the same amount of routes if we've got a different level of stops? We don't. We got to adjust that. We've got to take routes out. It's area that we're covering, the total area. We don't have to keep running the same routes every day. It's not feasible. It does not make sense. Right now, they're using about 11 extra routes a week from what they should be using. So right now, Matt and I were going in and we're re-engineering it where it makes sense, and this is the way it needs to be. And we're going to set different levels for different days based on stops. And this is what you run. This is what you got to work with. And it works. But it's just getting the old school of thought out of the minds of your BCs. That's the hardest part.
Right.
All they have to do is have conversations. Have conversations. They can't have a simple conversation with a driver, and sometimes they have to tell them no, then they are not the right BC, what we were talking about earlier. It's not always the driver way. It can't be.
It's painful, right? It's painful to try to say I have to take a route out. It's painful to say I got to take that iPad away from you or do whatever you got to do. But it's also painful to go out of business.
And two, what's more painful? Dealing with 12 drivers every day and having 12 drivers pulling on your shirt tails, or some days having 10 drivers you have to deal with versus 12. Then you don't need as many people.
Right. So anyways, we got to get rid of our reliance on the old route optimization software things, the reasons why financial health is not what it should be. Let's just put it that way. But this one, for sure, folks, the days of the exotic driver bonus programs need to go away. So I got some notes and stuff on this, but here's the thing. We do all these analysis, and we do a bunch of different analyses of people's businesses and look at their finances and whatnot. And yeah, there's some problems. They all help. But the one thing it usually comes down to, if you start getting control of your operation and you get some of your other wasted expenses out of the way, this one always flares up. These excessive bonus programs eat into your profits. These programs are taking all your owner's benefit away from the business. The impact, we've seen people's bonus programs impact somewhere in the neighborhood of, it depends on what it is, but anywhere from the 10 to 20% of revenue on up. Sometimes they get worse than that. Right now, everybody's an entrepreneur and everybody's got the world's best bonus program out there. Man, if these guys will do this or that, that'd be the thing. But the solution is all we have to do is look at who's been very successful in this space and copy what they do. Guess who that is? That's UPS. What do they do? Pay folks by the hour. Hey, Ken, what's the UPS bonus program? What's that like?
Non-existent.
They don't have one. Oh, how can they get drivers to do what they want them to do? They don't have the
Because they
bonus
have a
program.
competitively hourly pay structure. I cheated. I saw the answer.
Anyway, the solution is to move to more competitive hourly pay structure and manage the drivers rather than relying on bonuses to manage the drivers for you. I got some bad news, folks. Most drivers' actions and whatnot don't necessarily get influenced by what you pay them. And you guys want to argue all day long, that's fine. The hourly approach promotes accountability and helps manage, and actually in this case, it helps manage, it's going to help you manage multi-facility operations more efficiently. So removing unnecessary bonus programs allows the company to better control costs and improve all overall performance. Be happy to, if you want to talk to me about your bonus program and why it's the greatest thing in the world, just call me and we'll talk about it. Now, this is the thing everybody wants to ask. What if FedEx just paid us more? Would increased settlement solve these problems, right? The key misconception many contractors have is that higher settlements alone will solve their financial challenges without addressing the underlying operational issues. In reality, additional revenue cannot make up for inefficient operations and poor financial management. More money just temporarily masks deeper systemic problems. Everybody thinks it's going to fix their problem. Give us 50 cents more stop and everything will go away. Is that true? You think that's true?
Nope.
Can't hurt. Not saying it wouldn't help something, but it's not going to necessarily solve the problem. Successful CSPs focus first on optimizing their operations, implementing proper financial controls, and maximizing resource utilization before going to seek higher settlements, which, hey, sometimes that is, you should look at your settlement structure and maybe there is cause for requesting a renegotiation or something like that, but there's usually things that can be done first. This operational excellence allows them to generate sustainably higher profits, even at current settlement rates. Financial success comes from operational excellence, not just higher settlements. Okay. So financial stress is a real challenge for FedEx contractors, no question about it. We're not trying to tell you it is, it isn't, it absolutely is, but it can be managed with the right strategies and tools. The key is to proactively address top challenges in areas like financial planning, fleet management, team development, and performance tracking. Business support system programs, budget IQ, admin IQ, and performance IQ provide structured approaches and expert guidance to help contractors overcome these challenges. These programs cover comprehensive budgeting and cost analysis, strategic maintenance and vehicle replacement, BC training, and driver method improvement, and regular yield analysis and operational metrics. By implementing these solutions, contractors can protect their bottom lines and focus on growth opportunities. So how can we get the BSS and some other help, Miss Becca?
You can take action today. What we're finding within the eTruck Biz business support system is there is a 10% average cost reduction. So this is typical savings achieved through proper financial management using the eTruck Biz Budget IQ program. 15% efficiency improvement, so potential operational gains from implementing best practices using Performance IQ program. And if you are combining all of our BSS programs, you're seeing 20% profit increase. So possible growth and profitability with comprehensive solutions. That's all together. I would be happy to go over this more in detail with you. You can have your free customized operating budget and financial plan. All you need to do is contact me, Becca@etruckbiz.com. But what we do then is it starts with the business evaluation. First, we would assess your current performance, go over the existing dispatch practices. Then we want to set measurable goals. So using that standard budget and expense plan to create the operational goals. And then lastly, we want to implement those strategies. So applying the techniques discussed through the eTruckBiz business support system featuring Performance IQ program that is within the business support system that we offer. And then again, just focusing on that dispatch yield. It's a great way to unlock your profitability, efficiency, and growth. So we can do all this for you. You just need to get in contact with me, Becca at etruckbiz.com, and I would be happy to set that up for you.
Alrighty, we've got a couple responses to the observation ride. Had somebody do one last week and 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, my BC saw my slowest driver do 18 stops per hour, but that driver is now reverted back to 13 stops per hour. So what we learned there is that the driver knows how to do the job, is choosing how not to get into sixth gear and remain in third gear. So that's why they are back to doing 13 stops per hour. But it's been demonstrated that this employee can perform the job at 18 stops per hour, and then they now need to be held accountable to perform the 18 stops per hour. One of the things that Bob mentioned earlier was the volume varies by day and your productivity levels will vary by day. Understand that Mondays tend to have a lot of bulk, so your piece per stop is higher, so your total stops per dispatch might not be as high. But what's that mean then on Saturday and Sunday when you don't have any pickups? The stops per day should be much higher because people aren't breaking off for pickups, and chances are they're averaging about 1.2 pieces per stop. Therefore, they have a lot more capability to do more stops. Are there any questions out there about the items that Jeff discussed? It was very detailed. I've yet to hear a contractor say, you know what, I'm making way more money than I thought I would ever make. There are definitely challenges out there. FedEx does not make it easy, but there are a lot of contractors that do well. But like I said, I've yet to hear someone say, I'm making way more money than I thought I was going to. But I think Jeff lined out the process very well, starting with the budget, including the methods and asset utilization, utilizing that, as well as some varied types of dispatches. And I think that's the one thing you've got to look at. When are my opportune times to maximize stops per dispatch, or do I need more dispatches at opportune times? And then do I pull some dispatches back? And then, I have to add some manpower during the evening to help handle some pickups. Got a quiet group today. Hopefully, after we publish this and you get some time to review the video, there'll be some more questions. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're here to answer those. As always, as Jeff says, it starts with the budget. Reach out to Becca, get your free optimized CSA analysis. So we will be back here next week. If we don't talk to you before then, please have a safe and profitable week. Thank you very much.